to today's very exciting podcast. It's all about MACH 2024. What's happening? What's new? We're going to get some really interesting insights and find out why you should be considering exhibiting at the show. So I've got two guests with me today. I have got number one guest, in no particular order, but I've got James Fudge from the MTA. So thank you for joining us, James.
No, thank you very much for having me along.
And I've got Paul Jones, the CEO of MTD.
Always good to be here. Good to see you both.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Now, it's not that far away, is MACH? I mean, we're talking the date specifically of the 15th to the 19th of April. I think it's good to be talking about this so early on because it creeps up on us, doesn't it?
Massively. I mean, it's 8 months away. Those that are exhibiting, we tend to see after EMO, people start working out what equipment they're going to bring, what they're going to showcase, because they've kind of tested it on that European market. But, really, it is very, very close.
The good thing about the dates as well, I think, this time is it's outside of the Easter break, isn't it? Which is good for the visitors, but great for the exhibitors as well.
Yeah, I mean, Easter is the last day of March this year. So we open on the 15th is our first open day. There's that good break between.
You like Easter, don't you?
I like chocolate.
Which one do you prefer, Easter or MACH?
MACH.
Is the right answer. I'll bring some chocolate to MACH and then we can just, that ticks both boxes there.
Why does everyone get this vibe that I'm always eating chocolate, honestly? Because it's true. Right, okay, I'm going to go straight into this. What's new? What's different?
So one of the things we're looking at this time is, why do our visitors come to the show? We get a lot of visitors that say they only come to MACH rather than any other exhibition in the UK. And what are they trying to get from it? And the answer is, yes, they're coming to look at things and new equipment, new technologies, find out what's going on in the industry, but also they're trying to find solutions. And so what we've said is, well, how can we signpost that in the key areas? So we've looked at which are the big topics and the big areas that people come to. So tooling is always a big, I think it's 26% of our visitors come for, and automation. We've always had automation throughout the show, and you've certainly seen that grow over the last, 2 or 3 editions. But what we've said is if we put these knowledge hubs in place, people can come along and go, right, where do I start? Or this is the type of facility I run, which parts can I automate? So these knowledge hubs can then signpost them to other exhibitors in the show who are showing that type of technology, and they can go and get the answers.
And what are these knowledge hubs?
So they're independently run, partly with the MTA ourselves, because we obviously are the sector and we know, we don't need a special advisory board. We are in the industry and that's where our members come from. But they're being run by a lot of the high-value manufacturing catapults. So if you go to the Additive Manufacturing Knowledge Hub, they'll be run by MTC. They're also looking after our automation one. As I say, we've got a Tooling Knowledge Hub, which is being run by the AMRC. And we're also looking at an energy reduction one, which will probably be running in...
And not going into the specifics, sorry, Paul, but have you got speakers here? What's actually happening to people
So the idea is you go along and there'll be some examples of different types of technology in that area. I'll take automation as the example. So there'll be a machine being loaded, there'll be a guided vehicle, so that people can talk about the different types of automation, because it's obviously a very wide-ranging title. It's not just the robotics bit, it's everything that it encompasses. And then from there, you can go, right, if I'm interested in this type of product, these are the stands you need to go and visit. So it means that it's signposting people around the exhibition, because it's a big exhibition to get around. And it's just trying to help the visitors really get the most from their day there.
And what's the adoption and the take-up of the space this time around, James? Because, of course, we had the COVID situation of 2018, then you've got 2022. Now we're 2024. People always talk about, have exhibitions bounce back? And I think evidence suggested that 2022 it did. People were booking stands straight from 22 for 24. Has that kind of pattern continued?
Yeah, so we opened sales for 24 at the 22 show, and we came away with them more than we've ever done before. And I think what was really interesting was people at the last MACH were saying, I've not seen you for 4 years. And I was thinking, it's really interesting the number of people that only see each other there, because we forget sometimes. I think people think, it's a 5-day show. Well, it's not. It's a 2-year cycle. So it's about making sure that you're inviting your customers to the show. Obviously, the week where you're showcasing whichever technology you've got. And then it's following up on those leads and keeping those business relationships going for the next 2-year cycle. And as I say, there is such a large number of people that only visit MACH as the exhibition they go to, because it's one place to see everything working. And in the UK, it's the home market.
And I think it's quite interesting when you look at the exhibitors that you have and the attraction to the visitor. Some companies these days, as industry has changed, bringing product into the UK to keep it in stock, maybe. Let's take a machine tool, for example, bringing something in, keeping it in stock, then having to sell it. It's a fast-moving business. So sometimes these companies don't do that. They just bring the machines in when they're sold from maybe their European principal or where, from the Far East. So they don't get many opportunities, and actually visitors don't get many opportunities to see some of these machines until such events like the MACH show. And I think the world has changed a lot, as we all know, in recent years. And I think that's becoming even more and more apparent. There are so many distributors here in the UK that sell great technology, but they don't actually bring it here until they've sold it, and then it's gone into a customer, and then you might not be able to get to see it. So this is a really good opportunity for them, and then, of course, for the visitors to see it. Would you agree with that?
Massively. I mean, if you think about going to visit all these different companies, you'd never get around. You'd be driving to 2 or 3 facilities a day, because you'd be trying to see all this different technology.
And everyone wants to impress you with a bit of hospitality and everything. So it's not just a day; it's longer. Like, you're taking a lot of time out of your day-to-day life to go.
Yeah, massively. And whereas at MACH, it's all live and running. And I think that's the thing, is it's something we've talked about for years, but people do turn up. They do live demo their equipment. And it's a place where you can just see it, all literally under one roof.
Have you got like stats to back it up? For example, I mean, I don't even, how many machines are sold? How much equipment is sold? Have you got anything?
Yeah, so what we tend to do is we work out how much business is attributed to the show.
Okay.
Because we know that people aren't selling big machines off the stands, in terms of people aren't turning up with checkbooks and buying them there and then.
Yeah.
So we look at it over that 2-year cycle. And for MACH 2022, we reckon it was about £180 million worth of business done or is attributed to the exhibition.
I think that's a big number, and you don't want to. If there's 180 million, before the show. There's 180 million pounds worth of prospecting happening, essentially, and you want to be in that mix. You don't want to miss out on it. So I can see why that's a real draw for someone to exhibit. What I find really interesting is when the last time I was actually on a stand at a show for a machine tool company was back in 2006. And it's really hard work. It is hard work. I mean, on the exhibitions we do, they are hard work. But and that hasn't changed. And I know that the way the world has changed, as I mentioned, and the way that people sell has changed, and the internet and social media and all the rest of it. But what hasn't changed is exhibitions and what happens at them. The same thing will happen this time as it did 2 years ago, and it did 6 years ago and 8 years ago. Is salesmen will meet, and account managers will meet, and directors will meet with potential customers. And I just find it interesting how everything else has changed so much in the way people transact and all the rest of it in the world. But actually exhibitions, haven't have it. It's still the same thing.
Yeah, but you know what? Just off camera, before we've started this podcast, we were talking about all the events that we had just been to. Like, forget manufacturing. We've just been talking about going to an event. I'm talking about, seeing an orchestra live. You were talking about going to see shows. You cannot, 100%, with everything else going on, but you cannot beat being somewhere live, seeing it in person, touching, feeling, knowing that you can't beat that. That's what we've just said is part of our social lives. Bring that forward. You cannot beat that being in person. Whatever happens with anything that we all do, that meet, you don't get the same relationship feel. You can talk to someone over the phone, but my God, isn't it better in person, looking into someone's eyes, saying, has it got this? Has it got that? You can't beat that.
And I think this is the thing, is if you look at, all right, let's look at the last couple of years where we've had to start using Teams or Zoom and all these various online things. Okay, it got us through that period. If we were doing this now online, it just wouldn't be the same.
No.
And actually seeing people and talking to them,
it's energy. You pick up on people's energy,
massively.
And you get more excited. You get more information, and you get those side conversations that maybe you wouldn't get if you were doing it over, Teams or anything like that. So
and then we talk about the technology. There was someone on a stand last year, and they were running a video, and they said, "That's fine, but you've obviously sped that up because that's showing a piece produced every 20 seconds, say." And they went, no, that's what it does. And they went, in fact, come with me. They walked over to the machine, went dink, and it did it. Yeah. And that's the thing, is to see, you can't say feel and touch because you don't want to touch any of those things, but to actually see that live in front of you.
How many times have we had a video and then a side conversation has happened afterwards and we're like, oh, we need to catch that on camera, and it's all those moments that, you know, I just love being at events, so there is
the problem though that you bump into people you don't want to bump into.
Well, that's probably, you know, this is when people see you, that's why they all scarper.
There's none of those. I also think that the way technology is moving so quickly as well, that you cannot, I don't think you can, as a producer of a product, as a subcontractor, as a manufacturer in general, you cannot take your eye off the ball. You cannot continue to do your day-to-day activities without thinking, is there a better, faster, more productive, more efficient way of doing it? And I think that as every sort of, you know, biannual or every MAC that passes, I think you'll see the technology leap getting greater and greater and greater, which makes the event and events in general more of a draw to be able to see that in one place.
Massively. And I was just going to say, from 2018, obviously we had a 4-year gap until 2022. The change, you know, if you looked at the floor plan, you'd go, oh, it's those companies again. But what they were showcasing had come on so much. I mean, they say the rate of change will never be this slow again. And like you say, it's getting quicker and quicker. And the new technologies that we see coming through the show, I mean, we see it as the association as well, because like I say, day to day, that's what we're doing without talking to people. But it's fascinating.
We're seeing that. We're seeing that massively as well.
The rate of change, the pace of change. I think people went through a period where, you know, things were tough, but now they're having to compete in with lots more products and all the rest of it, and they're more visible, so they've got to be a bit better. Software as well, and AI, all of those things, Industry 4, the way the digitalization and things like that, you know, you can actually see these things in real time at the
You've
events.
got to keep up with it as well. You don't want to fall behind, do you? So you need to be, you know, it's being at the central hub where everyone's going to be, everyone part of industry, whether you're running a machine shop, when you're exhibiting, it's all those conversations, it's all that education in one place. It's just, you can't get that anywhere. That's what MAC
And that's the thing, is it's because it's a full 5-day week as well. We get 26,000 attendees. To get all those people in one place, you know, even if you could see 10% of those people, that's a huge number. And we try and make it as accessible for everyone as possible.
Because you do a lot with apprentices as well, don't you?
Yeah, so about 15% of our visitors are apprentices. So there's a couple of colleges where MAC is actually on the curriculum. You have to come and visit as part of your studies. And it's a great way of showcasing, again, the whole industry, because it is a little bit of a hidden sector. And because engineering isn't necessarily a course available at schools, you know, people sort of go, oh, it's a bit of D&T, it's a bit of science. Actually, no, engineering's a lot more than that. And it's really interesting, these young engineers that come through. And in fact, there was one that one year came as one of the apprentices and was looking around the show. The following year, they were working for one of our member companies, and they were doing the tours and taking people around. Oh, wow. And I think that's a great story.
When you go to Europe, which we do a lot, and you know, pick for example Stuttgart as an area. Around Stuttgart, within a 2-hour drive, you can visit and see a lot of machine tool manufacturers. You can see them being made, you see the final product. It's not good, but we don't have that here in the UK. Hopefully we will, and you know, that is something that we could do, but that's a disadvantage in some sense. But an event here like MAC can capitalise on that, I think. I always think, you know, you need a reason to go to an event. You need a reason to exhibit at an event. And if you take some of those communities or those territories that I talk about, you know, perhaps an event might not be as attractive because you can see it in a lot of these things in the local area, and you just can't here. So,
what's new then? Are there going to be different people exhibiting as well? Because of course you've just said about there being exhibitors but with different technology, but are there new faces or anything else that we can kind of get excited about?
Yeah, I mean, we've got quite a few new companies this year who visited MAC last time, realised they should be part of that.
That's great.
And that's always good to see, you know, companies come through. Like I say, it's great to see those companies that have been there for years. And as I say, it's the technology change which I find fascinating, because they're showcasing things so different to even 2 years ago. And I think with these knowledge hubs as well, you know, they're going to be a big part of the show. Again, some of our seminar speakers that are going to be part of our seminar programme have spoken at the event before, but actually what they're talking about and the rate of change and where things have developed, across the board, be it technology, as you say, software. I mean, I can remember talking about Made Smarter in its early days. You know, that's now come on such a long way, and people have got the hang of i4 or various other bits. And as that's starting to change and gather momentum, that's where I think you start seeing the developments.
It's clearly working if people are returning as well. That's the ultimate, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, again, because we're the association, you know, we're the MTA. So bar that 1 week every 2 years, you know, I'm working for the association, and we are looking after our members. We are trying to find out what's going on in the industry. Are we reflecting that? And actually, it's not just us reflecting, but are we driving that forward? Because sometimes it's we're in a position where we can do that, and if there are certain things coming down the line that we can see, we can help do that. And I think that puts us slightly apart from maybe more commercial shows.
I think the work we're going to do with you at MACH, of course, broadcasting everything that we talk about here. I think if you put those two together, that's an audience, you know. And I have to shoehorn that bit in because it's important because the digital world is, you know, it's there and it's big, you know, it's really big.
But people were saying to me last time as well, it wasn't just, oh, I can't make it, therefore I can watch back. It was actually I can't get round it all. So if I've missed bits or there was something I wanted to go back over, I've got that now because it is a big show. I mean, our revisits, so people staying for more than 1 day, again last year were up because people knew they weren't going to get around it all in a day.
It's a big show.
Yeah.
Particularly if they wanted to spend time and talk to people at quite an in-depth level.
And the dinner, just to kind of finish off with.
What now?
No, not
Lovely.
now.
That's on
Off we
already.
go.
Thinking about food already. I did bring some donuts in, but you're on a diet at the moment, aren't you, Paul?
You got a donut on
Sorry,
this
I'm
panel.
not.
No, you're not. You're not. No, we've got donuts
I'll have
downstairs.
Paul's, so I don't have one. Perfect. Sorry. Because we've got the whole community there. You know, this is the whole manufacturing technologies community. They're there all week. It makes perfect sense to have the MTA dinner. So that will be on the Thursday evening. We're holding it at the Vox, so it's on site at the NEC, straight from show, so people can walk straight over there. Tickets are now available, so if people want to buy a ticket to be there, great opportunity to network in a less formal setting, shall we say. Grab a beer or two, have the dinner. So yeah, that'll be on the Thursday night again.
And you've also got at work in conjunction or running at the same time as MACH is the engineering show as well.
So we've got the engineering supply chain show, which we soft launched last year. This year it's going to have its own hall, so it will sit in Hall 7. It will be a 3-day show. It's the only co-located show with MACH because the other co-located shows have changed dateline. And it's for showcasing the UK supply chain. So companies have to be UK based.
Okay.
And it's about, you know, really looking at the capability and capacity of UK. Because what we find is there's a lot of big companies come to our show, whether that be OEMs in the automotive and aerospace sector, whether it be the Ministry of Defence, you know, all these procurement teams turn up. But sometimes they're not just looking to invest in new equipment, they're looking for the capacity. And that's really what we're trying to showcase. And again, we've got the community in one place for the week. Why wouldn't we do that?
And I think outside of that as well, if you've got companies that need to buy machines and they're exhibiting in the engineering supply chain show, it's a great opportunity for them to tread the boards and go and look at what kit is available, isn't it? And vice versa. You know, the machine tool suppliers looking at the opportunities of companies that
massively,
may
because
be able to improve their production and productivity.
Again, when you get there, it's not just competition. There'll be a lot of your customers exhibiting as well because it is the whole supply chain. And that's the thing I think that also makes it unique is you're not just looking at people that are making the same as you. You're talking to people that make elements that you buy and that you work closely with and your partners. And it's really nice from that point of view.
Yeah, definitely. Just to finish off, what's your favourite bit of MACH? What's your favourite thing?
Friday?
I think my favourite thing, I mean, the Friday night when you can just go, but I have to say, I think the Monday, because we go in a full week before. So we walk into blank floor. There's just nothing. It's an empty exhibition hall. And we watch it get built. And then, you know, sort of Thursday, Friday, we start watching the stands being built around the machines. And then on that Monday morning, it's when we first open those doors. And I think that's the point at which, touch wood, it's all set up, ready and running.
Yeah.
And that's just really exciting. Last time there was such a buzz to get back to live events.
Yeah.
And you can just hear people in the halls. And I think that's what makes it exciting.
I think it's really exciting as well because you get all the logistics and you obviously... You know, there's big pieces of equipment going in. You hire companies that know exactly what they're doing. They're making your life easier for you. Get the machines in. And I know that sounds easy, but these companies are trained. They know what they're doing. And you see that grow. You see it grow and it starts.
I remember I'd only ever, when I was fortunately, when I was working for machine tool companies and exhibited at MACH, all we had to do was turn up on the Monday morning and disappear on the Friday night. It didn't get involved in any of that kind of build-up stuff, which was often much to the frustration of the ones that did, because they're like, you just turn up and obviously the roles were very different. When we did, I think, when MTD did our first exhibiting at MACH, I think it was about 2012 or 2014, I can't remember which one. We went on the Sunday and we started building up the stand, and I remember working with Ian, and we'd got some collaboration, and we were going to put a big sign up and all the rest of it. And I was just amazed at how I was walking around, and it was like 9 o'clock in the evening on the Sunday night. It's better than that now, actually, isn't it? But I remember then it was really, really late, and some of these stands, you know, God, I mean, we're going through the night. I turned up in the morning and I went, I can't believe
like,
how
wow.
transformation.
I mean, we're lucky now in that because of the new halls that we use at the NEC, it gives us more lifting sites. So there's a lot of craneage. I mean, we're talking about 60 lorries a day get unloaded, and they're not light bits of equipment. You know, they are craned or Versa lift off. And so we used to grow obviously front to back. Because of the way the hall layout is, we still do that, but you've got more opportunity to do it. And, you know, when people turn up on Sunday at 4 o'clock and go, oh, there's no aisle carpet. Yeah. Fine. I know that's going down at 5.
Okay.
Don't worry about that. There's been a lot. And that's the thing is when you, as I say, it's just before those stands start being built and you can look through the halls and you see just how much stuff is there, be it machines, equipment, technology. It's
so exciting to
it's
be
not
part
far
of.
off. It's not far off. I can't believe how quick the cycles come round as well.
Yeah.
I walk out of that place on that Friday night or that Saturday, and just go, oh, it's ages until that, but it just
and
comes
it's the next
around
one.
so
So what's your favourite bit then, Paul?
My favourite
James,
bit.
this is Monday morning.
Favourite bit. It depends in what capacity, doesn't it? Because I've done it in a few different capacities, but now I would have to say my favourite bit is getting the buzz of people seeing us as a business, what we're doing, and being recognised for what we do, and you know, people wanting to participate in everything that we do. That really,
I like the community. That's what it is for me.
And also seeing, like you say, seeing people that we do see regularly, but we never see all in one place.
How often? And I hate to say it, but how often do you go, I know you, and someone said hello, and you're like, until I know you in your natural space, I totally don't know where I know you from.
Look
We've
at the
all
badge,
done it to
look at
each
the
other.
badge.
Looking at the badge. But we've all been there, and we've all got a great understanding.
Well, there was even
of
some
it.
wearing masks even last time round, wasn't there? So that was kind of just, and you were walking, and it's like that.
It's a place to be. It's the central hub for us, or it's a place for us to go, who's part of manufacturing within the industry, to talk manufacturing, to sell the latest and greatest equipment and show it off. And I think you cannot beat a live experience, a face-to-face experience.
And you do have a good laugh as well. We have a good laugh. It's it's good to see, get all your team together and everyone's living the same.
There's a lot said for that. There's a lot to be said for that.
100%.
Right, I think that's it. Thank you, James. We're really, really looking forward to it.
So there's still space.
Yeah,
we're coming up to 80% sold, so a lot of the space has gone. But we will always make sure we can accommodate people. But so if people are interested, then obviously they can either jump on the website and talk to us live on our chat function, or drop us an email.
Is that you?
And sometimes,
is it really?
Occasionally, it is.
Yeah.
There is a team of us that work on it, so it's
brilliant.
unusual that it's me, but occasionally I jump on there. So
he gives the best discounts.
There you go. Find out when James is
promise
out.
that.
Well, don't get him into trouble. Right, okay, so the 15th to the 19th of April, MACH, we're there. We're really, really excited. Thank you, James. We're really looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the MTD podcast. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Find more episodes on mtdcnc.com.